Hello and good morning to our respected lecturer and fellow friends. My name is Waniza Hanis binti Wanya Sanif and we are from Mlckb. Today, I will be presenting the first part of our project entitled Functions and Processes in Education and School as a Social System. To begin, education plays an important role in an individual and societal development. It is not only about academic knowledge, but also helps students develop their values, behaviors, and social skills. Schools can be seen as a social system because students, teachers, and parents interact with each other. Through these interactions, students develop social skills and learn how to behave and communicate with others. Therefore, education influences not only individual development but also the wider society. Next, our project focuses on sociology of education, which examines the relationships between education, individuals, and society. We apply four sociological theories, which are structural functional theory, conflict theory, symbolic interaction theory, and also feminist theory. We also examine issues such as academic achievement, bullying, academic pressure, and school dropout. To understand these issues, we use academic articles and interviews with students to explore their experiences. Moving on to the purpose of our project, we aim to examine the functions of education and the role of school as a social systems. We also aim to understand how schools, teachers, and parents influence students' educational experiences and development. In addition, we analyze 3 academic articles, conduct students' interviews, and apply the 4 sociological theories to understand educational issues and inequalities. Lastly, we examine the role of schools, teachers, parents, and students in addressing educational challenges. Now, I will move on to the theories used in our project. So these sociological theories provide different perspectives for understanding how schools function, how students experience education, and how social relationships and inequalities can affect education. So first of all, the structural functional theory focuses on the functions and stability of education. It views schools, teachers, students, and parents as interconnected parts of the education system. Education also helps transmit values, knowledge, and behaviors to students. Next, conflict theory focuses on inequality, competition, and power. It explains how some groups may have greater access to resources and opportunities. In education, this can help us understand differences between high achieving and low achieving students. The third theory is symbolic interactionist theory, which focuses on social interactions and meanings. It also looks at how interactions, especially between teachers and students, can influence student self-concept. It also highlights labeling and self-fulfilling prophecy. And finally, feminist theory feminist theory focuses on gender inequality and discrimination. In education, it examines differences in treatment and educational opportunities based on gender. Overall, these 4 theories provide different perspectives for understanding education, students' experiences, and issues that occur within schools. That is all for my part. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Iza, for your explanation just now. Okay, next I will explain the function and processes in education, stratification. So what is the meaning of stratification? It refers to the classification of students into different levels or categories in the education system. It based on academic achievement or family status, gender abilities, and learning needs. So the differences can influence students' educational experiences and academic performance. We have three types of stratification. For the first one is academic achievement. It has high, average, and low achievers. So for the low achievers, may need more support, motivation, and encouragement from their families, teachers, and peers. The second one is socio-economic background. Wealthier students may have a better access to technology, books, and learning resources. Meanwhile, for the lower income students may face financial and resource limitation. And the third one is abilities and learning needs. Different classes and programs may be provided based on the student needs. It could be labeling student as high achiever or low achiever may affect their confidence and how others view them. Next, I will explain school as a social system. A school is a social system made up of students, teachers, parents, administrators, and the school community. They interact and cooperate to achieve common educational goals. So for each member has a different roles, but their actions are related or interconnected. Okay, for the first one is for students, they can interact through classroom, group, and social activities. It can develop communication, cooperation, respect, and social skills. Okay, the next is for teachers. Teachers can teach lessons and provide academic and emotional support for students. It creates rules and encourage positive behavior, confidence, and participation from students. And the last one for teachers, when it have a good teacher-student students relationships can improve their academic achievement. Besides, for parents, they can support learning at home and communication with teachers. They also can participate in school activities and help address academic or behavioral issues. So, cooperation between parents and teachers provide continuous support. Okay, the last one is for school rules. For school rules, it can establish standards for discipline, respect, behavior, and responsibility. It should be implemented fairly and equally for students.
So next, let's move on to the article. So the first article that we have chosen is the association between teacher-student relationship and academic achievement, the moderating effect of parental involvement. The second article that I've chosen is Do Anti-Bullying Interventions Reduce Internalizing System? A systematic review, meta-analysis, and meta-regression exploring intervention components, moderators, and mechanism. And the third article that we have chosen is Risk and Protective Factors Associated with Student Distress and School Dropouts, a comparison between the perspectives of pre-adolescents, parents, and teachers. So let's move on to the discussion of the article. So firstly, the first article explains about academic achievements. It focuses on the relationship between the teacher and the students and the parental involvement and the academic achievement, how the relationship between the students and the teachers can improve their academic achievement, and how the parental involvement can also influence their academic achievement. And mainly it examines the factors that supports the students' academic performances. So the second article focuses on bullying and also the well-being of the students. It focuses on the effects of the bullying, the effects on the students' emotional well-being, particularly about anxiety and also depression. It focuses on how bullying can affect the student's emotion and how it can lead to the anxiety and depression. So it emphasizes the role of school-based anti-bullying interventions and also peer, what kind of programs can they use to avoid these kinds of bullying and so on. And the third article focuses on the school dropouts. So it focuses on the students' distress and also the risk of the school dropout. It looks at the perspective of the students, the parents, and also the teachers. How school dropout is not actually involve only one individuals, but it also involves the teachers, the students, and also the parents. It emphasizes the supportive relationship as a protective factors against dropout. So move on to the similarities of the articles. So all three articles highlights the importance of school social environment, how the school social environment can actually shape the students' experience and also the outcomes of their academic achievement. So relationship and support from parents, teachers, and peers are the important factors in the students' educational experiences, how they experience their school, how they study, how they interact with others. And the articles, all of these articles shows that the students' problems should not only be viewed as individual issues, but also issues in the relation to their social environment. So a supportive school environment can actually contribute to a better academic achievement, increases their well-being, and also will continue their participation in education, so as they will not dropping out or refuse to study. So let's move on to the reports on the low achievers, high achievers, and school dropouts. So firstly, let's look at the low achievers. So the low achievers is actually mostly influenced by their family background, socioeconomic status, motivation, and also the school environment. All these factors can actually influence their school achievement. As we can say that a family background or social economic status. So these kinds of students that is in family that is not very well off, is more to a lower status, has limited access to the learning resources. So this may create like disadvantages. So they will not have the access to phones like smartphones or laptops, or even like additional tuition. So they will not get those privileges. So all these low achievers are also like has a negative label attached to them, like lazy or weak. So this kind of labels actually can decrease their motivation. So the theory that can be related to low achievers is that conflict theory. So it highlights about the unequal education opportunities, how they get less opportunities other than from other students, how these low achievers get less opportunities, and also symbolic interactionism. So because it focuses on, like I said earlier, labeling. This kind of labeling is actually shows that their relationship is not very great with their peers. So this shows that their interaction is not as effective. So on to the high achievers. High achievers is supported by strong motivation, good family support, good learning environments, and also they have the educational resources. So this kind of students receive positive labels such as smart or excellent student or top student. So these positive labels can actually influence their motivation to continue studying and get a higher academic result. So However, this kind of labels can also make their expectation, the high expectation from their parents and teachers. So this can actually create academic pressure. So they will feel like, oh, if I don't do well in this, my parents and my teachers will be so disappointed. So this can create this academic supports. It's not actually that bad to create these academic supports, because these supports can push them to be a better student, to be better at studying. So the theory that can be linked to this is structural functional theory, as it views high achievement as part of education's role in developing capable individuals. So these students has their own roles. This is why we have exams and tests, so that they can get this kind of students, how high they can go, and so that these students can be a functional has a functional role in the society in the future. And last one, for the school dropouts. Mostly school dropouts is because of they have financial difficulty, family problems, low academic motivation, and negative school experiences. So there's also factors like bullying, poor relationship with their teachers or peers, and also repeated academic failure. So this can also contribute to this. I would say that this kind of personal problems is mostly about it, like because they have this kind of problems or financial problems, they can afford to be studying right now. They feel like they have expectation for their parents, for them to be working, to actually earn money to support their families. So this is why this can actually reduce the future educational and also employment opportunities. This is actually, I think this is a common problem in families that has financial difficulties, because they can afford for their kids to be studying, so they need their kids to get a job or help them at home. So yes, this can actually reduce their future opportunities for them to get better job or better future. So the theory that can be linked with this would be conflict theory, as it highlights the socio-economic inequalities, how this kind of people receive inequalities, and because of that they don't want to continue studying anymore. And it can also be connected to symbolic interactionism, because it explains how negative labels and their school experience can actually contribute to them to dropping out. So this kind of labels will create a negative, negative view to school and their peers. So they don't really want to study anymore because they feel like they don't belong in there. So yes, I think that's all on the reports on low achievers, high achievers, and school dropouts. Thank you.
On the next slide, I will be explaining the main findings from our interviews. Firstly, we found that schools have a role beyond the academic achievement. Schools also help students develop their social skills, behavior, leadership, and also self-confidence. A safe and positive environment is also important because it allows students to learn effectively and feel comfortable. This can be related to the structural functional theory, where schools are seen as a social institution in which teachers, students, and also parents have different roles that work together to support the students' development. Next, we found out that there can be differences in how
high achieving and also low achieving students are being treated. High achieving students may receive more attention, praise, and also opportunities, while low achieving students may receive extra classes but sometimes less attention. And these may cause some students to feel left behind or have lower self esteem. This can relate to the conflict theory because it highlights the differences in treatment and also opportunities within the education system. Lastly, bullying and academic pressure can negatively affect students, and bullying may reduce the students' confidence, motivation, and also participation in school, while excessive academic pressure can make students feel discouraged. Yeah, and while low academic achievement can also be influenced by factors such as workload, peer pressure, or poor time management, and also lack of motivation. On to the next slide, we will look at the roles of teachers and also parents. So based on our findings, teachers play an important role in supporting students. Teachers should build positive relationships with their students, communicate with them, and also try to understand the problems that may affect their academic performance or motivation. Teachers should also use different teaching approaches because every student has different needs, abilities, and also learning styles, while parents also have an important role, especially outside the school environment. Parents should provide encouragement and emotional support instead of putting too much pressure on their children or constantly comparing them with other students. And most importantly, teachers, parents, and also schools need to work together. So, through a good communication and cooperation, these problems such as low academic achievement, bullying, academic pressure, and the risk of dropping out can be identified and addressed earlier. Therefore, supporting students should not be the responsibility of only on one party. Instead, it requires cooperation from everyone involved in the education system. To conclude our presentation, the interview findings shown that education is not only about achieving good academic results. Instead, students' social, emotional, and also their personal development are also important. A supportive and inclusive school environment can help students to become more confident, motivated, and also willing to continue their education. And the next, no, the structural functional theory also helps us to understand how different parties in the education system work together, while the conflict theory highlights the differences in treatment and also opportunities experienced by students. For future recommendations, schools should create a more inclusive learning environment and also avoid labeling students based on their academic performance. And teachers can also help, can also use more varied and student-centered teaching methods while building stronger relationships with their students. While at the same time, parents should provide support and encouragement without creating unnecessary pressure or any comparison. Overall, cooperation between schools, teachers, and also parents is important to ensure that students receive continuous support and have a better chance of reaching their potential and also staying motivated to continue their studies. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.